Well, good afternoon and welcome to this Folksam Grand Prix in Sweden. It's the Sollentuna edition. Beautiful track just on the outskirts of Stockholm, the Swedish capital, and overlooking the harbour as well from the other side. Really is a wonderful setting. So we've got a great quality meeting as well. And as you can see here, athletes are out there on the track. It's going to be the women's 400 metre hurdles A race that we'll see first. And we'll also have a good amount of middle distance and sprinting action as well, interspersed with some field events, including the men's discus, which includes Daniel Stoll, and also men's and women's shot put, which includes the likes of Fanny Ros. So both of them Swedish record holders, of course, and we do tend to see high quality representation from some of Sweden's best, and as a result, due to that quality and the kind of the reputation, I should say, of a high standard of meeting, we get a good international standard in terms of athletes from abroad as well, along with some others from some of the other Nordic countries like Norway and Finland. As well as that, we tend to get from the Swedish broadcasters a really strong storytelling element in terms of the field events, because that is where some of the biggest quality often is. And Mondo Duplantis has supported the Folksam Grand Prix series in the past, and we've seen a number of Swedish national records. Of course, Daniel Stoll does often tend to do some of his best performances on Swedish soil, setting the national record in a small place called Bottnaryd, which has a population of just over 700 people. And Stoll, of course, leaning towards the Olympic Games, it seems, just outside of the medals at the European Championships that we've just had. So he'll be keen to, I guess, reassert himself on that particular path towards the Paris Olympic Games.
Var det några dagar sedan EM i friidrott avslutades i Rom. Nu har många som var på det här mästerskapet tagit sig hela vägen till Sollentunavallen för att tävla i svensk Grand Prix. Och ja, tittar vi på stjärnorna så är det förstås som så många gånger förr. Just här i Sollentuna, Daniel Ståhl, en av de som lyser allra mest.
Ja, precis. Och han gillar ju Sollentuna. Han har kastat väldigt bra här. Han ställs mot otroligt tufft motstånd i Europamästaren Christian Tjech. Sen har vi också Fanny Ros som jag antar är revanschlusten efter sjätteplatsen på EM. Så att det ska bli kul att se vad de kan göra här under eftermiddagen.
Både Ståhl och Ros, alltså utanför medalj på EM. Men som sagt, kanske kan det bli långa längder här i Sollentuna. En annan, mycket intressant. Den svenska sprinterdrottningen Julia Henriksson sprang ju väldigt bra både på 100 och 200 meter under EM. Nu väntar 100 meter och kanske en attack ner mot Linda Haglunds svenska rekord från 1980.
Ja, men hon har ju haft en gryende form och det visar hon inte minst på EM, och vi skulle bli förvånade om hon inte ger ett riktigt bra försök och kanske till och med tar det. Formen indikerar att hon har potential att slå det här svenska rekordet som stått sig, som du var inne på, sedan 1980.
Och många andra intressanta namn som vi kommer att följa under dagen. Så många av dem lyckades ju väldigt bra på det här Europamästerskapen. Många personliga rekord blev det då. Och sen, som så ofta förr, så avslutas de här tävlingarna med 800 meter. Andreas Kramer, ganska tufft motstånd, men han springer nästan alltid bra här i Sollentuna.
Ja, men han gör ju det, och han har ju haft en jättefin nivå den här säsongen. 4:e plats på EM, stolpe ut, men här får han nya möjligheter att slipa formen inför OS nu. Nu när vi har ett mästerskap bakom så har vi ett också att se fram emot. Så det är väldigt speciellt den här sommaren.
2 riktigt bra friidrottstimmar väntar här i Sveriges Television.
Well, that was the voice of Al-Hali Yang, the world indoor silver medalist in the pole vault, and former Swedish indoor record holder. Of course, his 581 best has been taken up quite considerably by someone called Mondo Duplantis. So, decent filling of this stand here in Sollentuna. It was a nice shot we saw overhead, just giving you sight of the harbour here inside this Stockholm suburb. So this meeting getting underway very shortly. As I say, the athletes out for the women's 400-meter hurdles. So just introducing the shot put athletes I can hear the announcer doing, mentioning the name of Ireland's Eric Favours, one of a number of athletes who've just come back from the European Athletics Championships. I say come back, they might have even come straight here. Konrad Bukowiecki also involved in that. And it'll be a men's and women's competition happening at the same time, throwing alternately between the genders. You can see though the lineup for this women's 400-meter hurdles A race. So it includes a number of local athletes who will be very keen to make the most of this opportunity. As we've seen, sometimes young Swedish teenagers taking the chance to set their fastest ever times in races such as these. This is Moa Granat, European Under-23 title she won last year. Personal best of 55.89 she's improved to in 2024. On her outside, Hila Uusimäki of Finland, Ebba Svantesson of Sweden, who belongs to the Uppsala club. Uusimäki, another improver, very closely matched with Granat in fact. 55.8 exactly. But big round of applause for Moa Granat. And then on her inside, the Moroccan Noura Enadi, who actually holds the stadium record here with 55.28, set at this meeting last year. Also the Francophone Games winner. And then Anina Farr of Switzerland, one Swiss title for her came back in 2022. Personal best of 55.63, so again, quite closely matched, the four athletes in the middle. With Enadi having run 55.03 this year. There she is wearing 3.16. And then from lane 3, it's Anna Gryk of Poland. Bronze medalist at the European Under-23 Championships 3 years ago. Linnea Fröbe and Alice Lindgren Engelblom, the two Swedes, right on the inside. So Lindgren, Engelblom, Fröbe, Gryk, Farr, Enadi, Granat, Uusimäki, those three in particular to watch out for, and then Svantesson right on the outside. So should be a first strong race of this main programme here in Sollentuna, and Granat, the camera was focusing in on there. Going out very nicely here. We'll face competition from Enadi, I'm sure, down the back straight. There is Granat with the flowing blonde hair. Enadi still chasing her down, and Farr is there also. Uusimäki on the outside for Finland. Granat just stuttering off that barrier, allowing Enadi to come into the lead now. Enadi with Farr on her inside. The Moroccan, of course, stadium record holder, as I mentioned, with 55.28. Let's have a look at the clock here. And she's broken her own stadium record by 0.03 of a second, the Moroccan. Very clean victory, that one. Of course, Granat, the early leader, rising first, but then just stuttering around that top bend and running out of momentum. And it's Uusimäki of Finland who comes through for second place ahead of Farr and Granat. really pushing off that last barrier. Lovely final gear for Nora Enadi. €1,000 are available for the winner as prize money in these main events. It's part of a 30,000 overall prize pot. Enadi receives just that, and look at that, 1 second ahead of Uusimäki of Finland. Really strong result for her, 4/10 off her personal best. Anina Farr, the Swiss athlete, in third, then Granat in fourth. Okay, let's have a look at the shot put for the first time. This is Maria Belén Toimil of Spain. She was fifth in Rome at those European Championships. 1880 her lifetime best from 3 years ago, 1847 this year. Well inside the rankings places for the Olympic Games. The automatic qualifying standard being 1880, equal to her lifetime best. And 1780 in this first round. You can see Alina Kenzel, 1811 look like they're the early leader. As we see the Swedish record holder, Fanny Roos. And Fanny, who's part of the Malmö club. 1942, that Swedish record. 1899 this year. She was sixth, 1 place behind Toimil in Rome, having been fourth at the European Championships in Munich 2 years ago. And good start there for Fanny Roos. Also an Olympic finalist where she was 7th in Tokyo. 4th at the World Indoors in 2022, so consistently making the top 8. Even if she'd like to be a bit higher, but 1822 overtakes Kendall at this early stage. So you're watching live coverage then of this Sollentuna Grand Prix, part of the Folksam series on European Athletics website. This looks like Eric Fabers, the Irishman. Indeed it is. So 2093 he's improved to this year. Won the Irish indoor and outdoor titles last year. Didn't progress through to the final in Rome, but good for him to continue to be making major championship teams. No throw though in this first round. Looks like Leo Sivkovic of the Örgryte club. 1807 he's improved to this year, so he's in a high quality competition by his standards. 1668 in the first round. 1807 is personal best, and many of these men well over 20 meters, so perhaps the sort of quality of this event can help him achieve his best ever. This is Konrad Bukowiecki, former European indoor champion back in 2017, and then in Berlin the following year, European outdoor silver medalist. Started off strongly here. 2044 this year, compared to his 22-25 best from 2019, when he was just 22 years of age. (19 meters of 50) in this opening round. On to Jesper Orbinger of the Sporvegens club. Another improver to 2044 this year. Carries through really nice speed and momentum. as he rotated there. And that could be close to his personal best. Really nice fluid movement. .20 meters and 5, so he is over that barrier, over that line by a few centimeters. And we have another new leader, Ukrainian Roman Kokoshko. 21.52 he achieved last year, 20.56 this year. Again, you'll generally see these men using the rotational technique. .1935 slots into third place. So we also have the men's long jump, women's high jump and men's discus, the other field events that will start a little later on. Victor Pettersson. Best of the Swedes in this particular field. 20.94 his personal best. Once again rotating, pushing all the way through, unleashing that energy. And around that 20-meter mark, tiny bit of over rotation, hence the shot goes off to the left. .1994. So, I mentioned alternate rounds, and therefore, having seen the men's first round, we go back to the women's competition and their second round. This is Erna Solle Gunnarsdottir, the Icelandic record holder, 17.92 indoors and a 17.39 outdoors. Measurement there for her, remains in fourth place. Emilia Malmed of the Karlstad club here, just going to be short of 16 meters. Again, similar situation for her. She has this great opportunity to be in a field where the others around her over 17 and 18 meters in the past, and she's an improving athlete trying to get closer to that sort of standard. 15.49 her personal best, and 60 centimeters off that here. Alina Kenzel, the German, was fourth at the European Championships. It was a Dutch one too, of course, led by Jessica Schilder and then Jorinda van Klinken. Was also on the discus podium as well. Kenzel, a former world under-20 champion, and we have seen some great athletes come through the junior competitions, including of course Fanny Roos, who won the European under-23 title in 2017 and who leads the way ahead of Kenzel still. Only athlete we have so far is this one, Sara Lenman, also of the Sparvegens club in the blue vest, 18.39 this year. You can see using the linear technique this time. Compared to the rotational we picked out a moment ago. 17.10, and she goes above Gunnarsdottir with her first valid measurement of the competition. really nice conditions, as you can see, in Sollentuna. Weather 22 degrees. A little humid, but as we know, Swedish weather in the middle of the summer can be quite changeable. Doesn't necessarily get the flag for it, but similar to other countries' weather in summer that often do get criticised, such as British. Can have all seasons in one day sometimes. Toy Mill, again, not too far away from that 18-metre mark, but unfortunately no measurement there. Remains in third place. 42 centimetres between our top three in Sollentuna. Fanny Roos with that 11 centimetre lead so far. And winds up, unleashes that shot. Over 18 metres. Really powerful athlete. Makes it look very easy. So let's have a look. 18.53, much more comfortable advantage over Kensel now. Well, we'll keep an eye on the field action, but now, at this very moment, it's time for the first heat of the women's 100 metres. So, as with before, lots of our local athletes. These are Street Feet we saw there, and then Emilia Bernhardsson this is, in the green of Kalmar. Philippa Engstrom, you can see a number of these athletes around 11.9 seconds. But Maria Ignacia Montt, one of the fastest in the field, the Chilean athlete, second in the relay at the Pan Am Games last year. And then Julia Henriksson, who recently, it was European Championships just the other day, equalled the Swedish 200-metre record that had been set initially by Linda Haglund in 1979. And Christiana Williams, the Jamaican Olympic finalist. And Sara Viss on the outside. So first of two heats of the women's 100 metres. Henriksson in the centre there in the pink. Montt on her inside, but Williams coming through on her outside. Very strongly now, these two. 11.27 seconds. 600s outside the stadium record here. 11.21. Set by Crystal Emanuel of Canada in 2019. Henriksson drives hard out of the blocks, but very smooth. In the light purple vest is Williams here, just eking out that advantage over Henriksson and Montt. So they will have a final to come later on, by the way. Williams, Olympic finalist in Rio in 2016, where she was 8th. Second at the Commonwealth Games as well in 2018 in Gold Coast, Australia. Coming here through on Henriksson. Williams that year when she was Olympic finalist, 10.96 personal best. More recently 11.33 coming in this year, so of course season's best just now. Daniel Stahl still just warming up now, but really excited to see him in competition. I'm sure it'll be one of the highlights of the day for the crowd as well. As we have a look at this full confirmed result, so Williams winning that first heat, and then Henriksson of the Melma Club just 0.3 outside her personal best, and then Mont, the Chilean, 11.59 compared to her 11.38 best. So second heat coming up in a few moments' time. The shot put continues, and also expect to see some long jump and high jump at some point. This is Victor Pettersson then, 1994, puts him in third place. Swedish top 3 it looks like at the moment. And another strong effort from Pettersson. Getting good reaction from the crowd in Sollentuna as well. .20.25 lifts him up into second place. It's Kokosho, the Ukrainian, who's in first place. Those graphics just popping up on the screen and then disappearing very quickly. Second heat of the women's 100 metres here with Emma Karlsson, one of those who'd very much like to use this chance to break 12 seconds for the first time. Anna Torina Iversen has done so this year quite handsomely, 11.83. But just being in this race, something that she may benefit from with faster athletes like Shanti Veronica Pereira, the Singapore international. Pereira, Asian Championships 100 and 200 metre gold last year. Eleanor Venolf, faster still than her other Swedish teammates we've seen. Personal best 11.68. Angela Tenorio, Ecuador international, who's finished in the top 2 at the South American Championships 3 times. And Alla Halba Kosein, another young emerging Swedish talent, 11.72 at best. Unsurprising to see these PBs from some of the young athletes. Olivia Lundberg is just 18 years of age, and that PB is from last year, 11.56. Not bad as a 17-year-old. Vilma Svensson, yet to go sub 12 this year, but again, perhaps this is the time to do it. She runs for the Växjö club. So watch out in particular for Shanti Pereira, the Singapore athlete, and Tenoro of Ecuador, as we'll see if any of the Swedes will feature prominently as well. Lanes 3 and lanes 5 should be strong in this race. Tenorio now going clear of the rest of the field. Pereira and Lundberg fighting over second and third. Looks like the Swede got there, Lundberg in second, 11:26. So very closely matched, these two heat times, which means things shape up nicely for the final. Tenorio of Ecuador, personal best 10:99 back in 2015 and 11:22 this year. Just 300ths off that for the World Under 18 and also a World Under 20 medalist. It was quite some time ago now, but trying to get back closer to some of those times that she set earlier in her career. Tenorio breaks out into a smile here, given officially looks like as 11:27, as we will confirm the full result very shortly. As you'd expect, straight back to the shot put then. Fanny Rus. 18:53 we saw in the second round, and once again looking to be in fine form. I'm sure an athlete of her quality would have been disappointed to be in 6th place at the European Championships, but kind of the sense in some of the shot and throws events, long throws as well, that the best in Europe are also the best in the world. So to some extent, whatever competition you go to, it will be very strong. And obviously there's the absence of the Americans, Chase Jackson, and the stadium record holder here, Danielle Thomas-Dodd of Jamaica, but still it is a very high quality field with the two Dutch women I was talking about, Schilder and Van Klinken. Fanny Rus has been the standout Swedish shot putter for quite some time. So having another look here at this rotational technique, builds up that energy and then unleashes it like uncoiling a spring. Confirmation of that second heat win by Tenorio of Ecuador, 11:27, more than 4/10 ahead of Lundberg, the 18-year-old from Sweden, and Pereira of Singapore, 11:74. Very unusual combination of nationalities for a top 3 in athletics. Onto a face that isn't unusual at all, not unfamiliar in the slightest. Daniel Stoll steps out of the circle though. Well, we saw him warming up previously. Just wonder if that's continuing. In any case, it's a decent field. Expecting to see him against Christian Shea, the European champion and world champion 2 years ago. We'll go back to the shot put though for now with Victor Pettersson in second place, with Koshko leading with 20.62. Pettersson ensures that solid grip. So now begins to establish that momentum, unleashes, and perhaps just a little short of 20 metres there, even though it was right down the middle. (1986). So first three efforts all within 39 centimetres of one another. Now he can start to take some risks in the second half of the competition in order to improve. So this is live coverage of the Sollentuna Grand Prix on the European Athletics website, and we're very much looking forward to this discus battle between Daniel Stoll and hoping to see Christian Che as well. Lawrence Okoye also on the entry list. The British athlete Clemens Prufer of Germany, big improve this year to 69.09 in terms of metres. Also looking forward to some middle distance action. 1500 metres for women, including the likes of Sophie O'Sullivan, who's been entered, along with Sarah McDonald, British athlete, Sara Lapalainen of Finland. Men's 400 metre hurdles with Josh Folds of Great Britain, David Teed of Sweden, and Jesus Delgado of Spain. So they're all quite closely matched to around mid 49 seconds sort of region. Men's 800 metres with Callum Dodds of Great Britain, Paul Anselmini of France. Both of them have run 1:44.7 this year, as has the young Australian talent Luke Boys, who won his national title in April, and they'll all go head to head with the Swedish favourite Andreas Kramer. As we see here, Daniel Stoll just keeping his feet inside the circle, just trying to work out those cone markers now. So 50 metres in the background, and this could be a big effort from Stoll. Find out what it is in just a second. Alina Kenzel, fourth round we go into in the shot. So 11.93 now the leading mark of Fanny Roos. Kenzel wearing the Stuttgart club vest here with 18.11. So 82 centimetres off the lead. And remains that way. Toymil improving to 18.06, so three athletes over 18 metres at this point. Sara Lenman remains in fourth place, needs 30 centimetres improvement to move up into the top three. Shy of 18 metres there. So he starts out low using this linear technique, pushes all the way through up high. So also no improvement for her, Lenman. In front of her, as of course we've reset the order, is Toymil of Spain. Really quick through her turn there. Great agility through the circle. Another powerful effort from the Spanish athlete. Let's have a look. Unfortunately, no measurement there for Toymil. So applause for Roos. Over 18 once again. You can see she's really building into some sort of rhythm now. athletes keen to watch on. 1893 thus far remains her best. 1828. So all efforts so far within 71 centimetres. Onto the men's competition now. Eric favours the Irishman. So shy of 18 there. So a small field, but quite high in quality. Kokoschko still leading the way. So next race on track will be the men's 1500 metres. Well, just like the 800 metres, I mentioned that Luke Boys will compete. We will have some exciting Australian talents, including Callum Davis and Jude Thomas. Just break away from that as we see the shot put here. So Kokoschko still leading the way. We're in the fourth round. And this is Jesper Arbinger, who was briefly leading earlier on. Now pushed down into third place, but 20.08 is best so far by 3 centimetres. So we'll let the gun go and then we'll talk about some of the athletes in this particular field. So now underway, just give everyone a mention. Mikkel Blikstad Thomassen of Norway, Johannes Kiflay, who runs for the Hässelby club here in Sweden, and Abdulfat Yatin of Spurwagens, Nick Neumann, Carl Ottfalk, and then the Dane Andreas Holst Lindgren, Omar Seriak of Algeria, then the two Australians, Jude Thomas, who's run 3:37.01 this year, and Callum Davis 3:35.14 at best. The Brit is Joe Wigfield in this. Wigfield, a personal best of 3:36.57. That was one at the International Flanders meeting in Brussels at the end of last month. So decent improvement for him this year by around a second. He was sixth at the UK Indoor Championships over 3,000 metres this year. Also got Flavian Schott, who's improved to 3:35.9 this year. Maybe 3:35, not quite the time that it always used to be. Seen so many fast races, including on the European circuit this year. Paul Auriac of Spain, 3:35.77 at best. Jonathan Grahn of Sweden, always a supporter of this sort of meet, and winner of the European Under-20 title last year. 3,000 metres, and then Emil Danielsson, another Swede, a 3:34 athlete. So really high quality here, as we see led out by pacemakers Emil Johansson and Adam Chavinsky. Stadium record incidentally 3:34.50, so if the guys push on here it could be quite attainable. Jonathan Grahn there, wearing 62 in the orange vest, the European Under-20 champion, near the front of this race, as is his fellow Swede, Emil Danielsson, right at the sharp end of this race. Also with Omar Seriak, who's just in front of them at the moment. Flavien Schott of France, though, is the man who's made a break for it. 2:37 at the bell. And that gap is remaining pretty steady just for the time being. So Schott of France, 3:35.9 this year. Now starting to grimace somewhat as the lights of Graham try and chase. Moving into second place is Callum Davis, the Australian, with the bandana. That gap is closing all the time now. So Schott trying to hold on. Davis in second place. Graham is there. Now going to all come through. Davis into the lead. And you can see the look on Schott's face. Graham with the shades on into second now. And Davis, the Australian, coming through to win this race. Really good battle for second. 3:37.02. Schott, who had that comfortable lead with 300 metres to go, eventually going back and back through the field. Nicely measured race there from Callum Davis. Having a look here, so 4 athletes in the kind of orange and pink faded vest on the outside, overtaking Schott in the pink, who finishes, look like, in 5th place there in the end. Jude Thomas, the other Australian, coming through for second right on the line, although just cut off from that angle, but we did see previous that he was quite clearly in second place on the line. So job well done from the Aussies. Emil Danielsson, who we'd seen earlier on in the race, also finishing very strongly down that outside. And the other pinky orange vest that we hadn't mentioned was Andreas Holst Lindgren, who was just behind them. So it was a bit of a burn-up in the last 400 metres for that chasing pack, who were waiting and waiting and holding their station and hoping that Flavien Schott would come back to them. Indeed he did. Bianca Salming then, the heptathlete that we saw at the European Athletics Championships recently. Going here, I believe at 175, we saw that there were 2 failures come up. So Salming not having the smoothest season to this point. And you can see she had a decent amount of height there, bringing the bar down for the 3rd time, and it's the sort of height that she, under normal circumstances, would hope to be clearing. Back we go to the shot put, and Alina Kenzel in second place behind Fanny Roos. Last time we looked, it was 18:11 for Kenzel and 18:93 for the Swedish athlete. Slight change here. Kenzel only shading the tiniest of fractions off that lead, 18:14 in the 5th round. Full result then of this race. Callum Davis winning, Jude Thomas coming through right on the line ahead of Danielsson, Schott being overtaken, and Joe Wigfield of Great Britain finishing in 5th place there. The 2 DNFs include the pacemakers, who we didn't expect to finish, of course. Okay, having seen that 5th round, which must have been a replay very shortly, ago. This is Kenzel in the 6th round. Effort being measured. 18.11 became 18.14. But doesn't look to be enough to take over the lead in this final go. 18.33. Fanny Roos therefore winning the competition. 18.93. And we will see if she will have her final effort, having won today in Sollentuna. So I believe this is Sara Lenman then, who was seen twice previous. Around 18 metres. This is 17.94 for her, so finishes just 12 centimetres behind Toymil, the Spanish athlete. Fanny Roos, 18.93, already won this competition. What can she do now? Just going off a little towards the right hand side. I think she must have stepped out there because the official went to measure and then decided not. Let's have a look. Again, that doesn't give us the full angle. But confirmed there, no measurement. So time to do some autographs on the SWE vest. Eric Favors now, so this will be the final set of efforts for the men. And again, going by that suggestion, appears to be no measurement for Favors. Rotates his way through and perhaps just off balance right at the end. So 1961 his best, and is in 4th place. Jesper Arbinger, relative to his personal best, having one of the best competitions out of this particular field. And he looks to be over 20 metres once again. Nice to see the feet up close and get a sense of his agility through the circle. Delivered with great rhythm and power. 20.11 then. Cutting the gap to Pedersen. He'll finish 3rd place. Will Jesper Arbinger. Ramon Kokoschko, 20.62 so far. Winding up with great speed. Just see there that sudden acceleration as he was rotating. Kokoschko finishes with 19.32, 1 metre 30 off his best, which came earlier on in the 2nd round. So now we'll see whether Victor Pedersen can do any better. So the gap is 37 centimetres. Pedersen in the circle, also rotating here, delivering well. going to be just short, I think, of what he needed. It's actually quite a short sector when you think about it, with 20 the furthest marking. 20.08 he finishes with. Women's 400 metres will be the next track action coming up now. And this is the lineup. So, headlined by Nicole Jürgen, 50.96 at best, and also Lissandre de Wit, 50.77. Both around the 52.1 mark this year, so this is a crucial race. Of course, building towards the Olympic Games, and this is sort of a curious window when there are no Diamond Leagues, but national championships coming up. Big opportunities to try and make teams. Lisa Lilia here, also 52.1 this year, but that's actually a personal best, so she's the in-form athlete, and I'm sure she'll try and push Jürgen and de Wit quite hard. 400 metre semi-finalist in Rome, and also part of the quartet that set a 4x4 national record in the heat at the Europeans too. So she's the one highlighted athlete. From the inside, it's Ebba Gustafsson, who's improved to 55.66 this year, the Swede, and then Josephine Risberg-Thor of the Malmö club, Swedish indoor 400 metre bronze medalist last year. Then Mette Bas of Finland, who's won her last 4 national outdoor titles, improved to 52.1 this year. So very similar to Lilia, Jürgen and de Wit, who are all outside of her. Then Claesson, 53.70 personal best, and Tiffany Marinho of Brazil, who's twice a South American champion over 1 lap. So watch out to see how Jürgen and de Wit, two experienced internationals and also with a baton who've won medals. De Wit has 5 gold medals in the 4x4 at either the Europeans or the World Indoors or Outdoor Championships. Watch out and see how they do against some of the younger athletes like Bas and like Lilia. But Jürgen going very nicely here. Let's see if she can at least run a strong season's best then. De Wit on her outside, you can see, fighting over second place with Lilia and Bas, but these two now coming away very strongly down the home straight. De Wit still there with Jürgen, who wins narrowly, 51.33. Really important time that for Jürgen. Again, I'm sure she would have liked to have run even faster than that. But the standard of British women's 400 metre running really has moved on in the last few years. Of course, the likes of Amber Anning and Jodie Williams going sub 50, but also real depth from Lavia Nilsson, Yemi Mary John as well. So even making the relay team is quite a difficult ask, although the advent of the mixed relay helping that, because more athletes tend to be needed, especially if quite a few are running the individual. Lissandre de Wit for many years though has been a member of the Dutch 4x4 quartet as well, and has won individual medals too, including in Berlin where she was 3rd at the European Outdoors, and then a year later at the European Indoors in Glasgow in 2019 she was the bronze medalist. But since then, of course, Femke Bol, Lika Klaver have emerged, and also seen some good hurdlers too, like Kathleen Peters. So has to fight for her place, as does Jürgen. But that will do them the world of good. 51.3, 51.4 looks a lot better on lists than 52.1 4 times run this season. Okay, some more discus action then. Already seen Daniel Stoll in this competition. And a very strong field, as we expected it to be here in Sollentuna. Stadium record here, 71.37, set by Daniel Stoll back in 2020. Clemens Prüfer of Germany, 69 metres this year, 61.92 so far. Christian Che, European champion, beating the likes of the world record holder Miklas Alekner, of course, setting that incredible 74.35 throw in Ramona in Oklahoma recently. And Che looks like he's just on that 60-metre line, with 70 metres nearest the camera. Che becoming the first Slovenian man to win a European Championships gold medal. And it was Slovenia's first since Jolanda Čeplak in 2002. .63.17 for Lawrence Okoye, leading the way at this moment. So lots of noise for Daniel Stoll here, as you would expect. The Olympic champion, twice a world champion in 2019 in Doha, 2023 last year, Budapest. Stoll, you can see, sounding as though he was a little bit disappointed with that, and similar placement to Che in terms of where the discus landed. He and Che, of course, having the exact same personal best of 71.86, equal 5th all time. So no throw so far. Okoye 63.17, as I say, out front. There is Okoye just disappearing out of the front right of your picture. Full confirmed result of the men's shot put. Roman Kokoschko of Ukraine, best this year of 2062, Pettersson 2025, and fellow Swede Arbinger 2011. And a little bit disappointed perhaps from Konrad Bukowiecki to only be in 5th place. Swedish victory this time for Fanny Roos, 1893 from Kenzel and from Toymil of Spain. Competition that went quite quickly given the 6 athletes involved. Looks like we're heading to the high jump. Last time we saw the bar was at 175. Bianca Salming going out. This is Louise Ekman. Similar to that failure of Salming, had a reasonable amount of height. Bar coming down, 3rd time failure, 183. Veerman, Nilsson, Pihela have already cleared, it looks like. Ellen Ekholm. Oh, very unlucky there. Bar coming down very late. Let's have another look here. Driving in towards this bar. Just brushed it off. Fine margins there for her. Also out at 183. So this is the Sollentuna Grand Prix. And we've We've got Daniel Stoll in the discus up against Christian Che. Fantastic quality competition. Two of the best in the world who I'm sure will do battle in Paris at the Olympic Games. Also some decent track action coming your way. We've just seen Nicole Jürgen. Jürgen won the 400 metres in 51.3 seconds, just ahead of Lysander Witt of the Netherlands. Engla Nilsson of Sweden, of the Örgryte club. Bar gone up to 186. She is one of 3 women who look to have cleared at this point. Veerman of the Netherlands, Pihela of Estonia. And Bar coming down early that time, first time failure at 186 for the Swedish athlete. Really did clatter into that, so appears just these 3 women remain in the competition. Back to the discus we go. This is Jesper Arlin of the Turebergs club. He was a world under-20 finalist in the shot put in Cali, Colombia in 2022, where he was 7th, just 21 years of age. Arlin with a personal best of 58.82 set last year. So stays balanced in the circle and over 50 metres it looks like. So modest by his standards, just working his way into the competition. Didn't build up much acceleration through the turns there. 53.32, and he is in 5th place. Okay, now we see first sight of the event leader, Lawrence Okoye. 64.95 this year in Doha. Personal best and British record back in 2012, 68.24. Has showed flashes of that kind of brilliance since he returned to this sport. 67.14 to win bronze in Munich at the European Championships. 2 years ago, his best since his return. Also won the Commonwealth silver that same year. 61.44. Expecting that Stoll and Che will be able to achieve more distance if they can get a clean measurement in. So, athletes on the far side ahead of this men's 200 metres. Standout athlete there has to be Clarence Munyai of South Africa, their national record holder with 19.69 seconds. And given that he's run that sort of time, perhaps hasn't had the career that you might have expected since then. He's twice finished in the top 6 in the 4x100 metre relay at the World Championships. 4th at the Commonwealth Games in 2018, and he has run 20.52 this year. Stadium record, by the way, 2014. Olympic standard, 20.16. Looking here at William Trulsson, who's another one of these young Swedish talents, just 18 years of age, but you've already seen Julia Henriksson run quickly. And also some good performances from Moa Granat and Olivia Nilsson. Joe Ferguson of Great Britain goes on the outside, semi-finalist at the World Championships 2 years ago in Eugene. Personal best remains from that year of 2023. Now he's run 20.85 this year, so quite a bit outside that Olympic standard. He's just outside the ranking spots at the moment on the Road to Paris website. So the full lineup: Zion Eriksson of Sweden, Caleb Law, the Australian, then Clarence Munyai of South Africa, Linus Peel of Sweden, Abdulaziz Abdul Atafi of Saudi Arabia. He won his first national title in May, the 22-year-old, who's improved to 20:49 this year. So that's actually the fastest in the field if we're going just by season's best alone, with Munyai 8/10 faster on PBs. Then William Trulson, who's yet to go sub 21 seconds, this athlete here in the pink vest, in 2024 that is. And Eriksson's the other man who hasn't broken 21 seconds and hasn't done it ever. And then Joe Ferguson of Great Britain and Northern Ireland on the outside. It was a phenomenal performance to get a silver medal at the UK Championships 2 years ago. And of course he got the standard at the same time. Showed he was in brilliant form and got selected for the World Championships. It really was a little bit of a fairy tale story on the day. So these athletes underway. Clarence Munyai, third from the inside there in the orange vest. Ferguson on the outside. Atafi also coming through. The Saudi athlete in second, behind Caleb Law, the Australian. So few different phases to that race. Munyai starting off well but fading towards the end, and Law coming in ahead of Atafi. And holding his speed very, very nicely, the Australian. Winning gold recently at the Oceania Championships in Fiji on the 7th of June, so 9 days ago. 20:86 his winning time. Christian Che in the discus in this second round now. Falling flat, falling quite quickly there, Che. Certainly taking a bit of time to find his form now. And maybe just riding off the buzz of winning that European title. Not quite at it so far today. In the meantime, you can see that Clemens Prufer with 64.30 has gone into the lead ahead of Okoye. Now what about Storr? Surely they can't both fail to set a mark. For too much longer anyway. This tall figure of Daniel Stahl, the home hero. And crashing over is that 60-metre cone. And I don't think that will be measured. You can see there, just appearing to shave that outside of the cage. So remains Prufer, Okoye, Bell, and then the Japanese athlete Yagami. And this is our leader, Clemens Prufer then. Discus comes crashing down. Well, hard to really tell where that is with the markers out of shot, but looks to be close to 60 metres. As you can see from the cone on the other side. Okay, so that's the measurement that we had previously seen to have been leading. So a replay from a bit earlier in the round. Glad we could record that and squeeze that in. Back we go to the high jump. Pihala of Estonia. Very, very tidy clearance from an emerging young talent. Pihala, who's just 20 years of age, clearing at the second time at 186. Britt Veerman out of the competition at 186 then, so suddenly this is looking fantastic for Elizabeth Pihala of Estonia. Veerman, who just turned 21 a matter of days ago on Thursday. So this is the other athlete left jumping in the competition then, and the only remaining Swede, but Nilsson also going out at 186. So Pihala winning the competition by virtue of that clearance at 186. That's the way it's looking. Veerman with another failure, the European indoor silver medalist. So let's confirm then the men's 200 metres second Australian victory of the day. 2086 for Caleb Law and Al-Tafi, the Saudi Arabian athlete, and then Linus Peel, best of the Swedes. Well, having seen the men's 1500 metres, now going on to the women's event. Similar story in that we've got some strong Swedish representation and also others from around Europe trying to use the reputation of this competition and the quality it usually provides to push them to a decent race. And 1500 metres is about times, yes, but also about learning your racecraft in some of the more tactical races. We will again though have pacemakers, and one of them will be the Swedish record holder of 800, Lovisa Lind, a former European medalist. So some experience in this race in terms of leading them out. The tall figure there in the Adidas vest is Sophie O'Sullivan, who won the European Under-23 title over this distance for Ireland last year, following in the footsteps of her mother Sonia, of course. And confidence very high in Irish athletics. Ciara McGeehan winning the European senior title in the last few days, and also a mixed relay gold, and they had to wait, had Ireland, since 1998, 26 years to be the top of the European senior podium on the track, and that was since Sophie's mother Sonia had won the 5,000 and 10,000 metre double that year in 1998. So O'Sullivan just settling into the middle of this pack in around 6th or 7th place. In front of her you have Sara Lapalainen, Finnish national record holder from 800 metres all the way up to the mile. And like O'Sullivan, she's also inside the ranking spots for the Olympic Games. Lapalainen saw her in Kladno beat Isabel Boffi over 800 metres with a really good finish. Seeing a bit of a separation with the top 5 here, but within that top 5 we're including the pacemakers Lovisa Lind and Lovisa Aylstrom. There is Lapalainen with the blonde hair there. Also in this race, Wilma Nilsson, European under-23 bronze medalist over 800 metres. And Sarah McDonald of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, twice a world semi-finalist over this distance, has also been entered. Marissa Dammink, Dutch indoor 1500 and 3000 metre champion this year. So Lovisa Lind checks her watch as the pack looks hungry to push on behind her. Malin Edland of Norway also in this leading group for 14.84 at best. And O'Sullivan though appears to have been dropped and is in that chasing pack some way behind. I said the gap was opening up. She had been at the front of it, remains at the front of it, but gap now much more significant. And looks like 5 athletes in the lead group behind the pacemakers now, and Sara Lapalainen is really the one that is pushing through now. Lapalainen had some injuries over the last couple of years, but still amazing performance at the Tokyo Olympic Games to be a semi-finalist over 800 and 1500 metres and break both Finnish records. Back then she was known as Quivistal. Now Lapalainen, the name that's been mentioned by the announcer here. Now only one athlete in front of her, Ngarambe, Swedish indoor champion over 1500 and 3000. Wilma Nilsson being dropped but is in third place. The gaps in front and behind her. Hitting the bell then. 3:01.50 on the clock. Ngarambe against Lapalainen. And Ngarambe, who was 10th at the European Championships in Rome. 4:06.58 this year compared to 4:07 in 2024 for Lapalainen. Fantastic battle between these two. Sweden against Finland, as we so often see in one of the brilliant matches of the year, Finn Kampen on Swedish soil here. Lapalainen makes a fairly early move for her. Going past, heading into this top bend. Nielsen's still in third place though. Big question. Does Ngarambe have enough to have a go back at Lapalainen, winding down this home straight? The Finn looking very strong, stretching out as she tries to get back to some of her best times. What a performance this is. So measured and sensible, and had enough to stretch out the lead down the home straight. 4:05.80 for Sara Lapalainen, the Finn, ahead of Ngarambe, the Swede. Nilsson in third place and really strung out this pack. Lapalainen using her talent and her experience to good effect. Lapalainen, Ngarambe, Nilsson, and then it looked like Malin Edland of Norway, who had been in the lead group of 5, finishes in 4th place. And she's a 4:14 athlete, so will be fairly close to her best, I would have thought. We'll see the full confirmed result very shortly. Lapalainen, so impressive in Tokyo, of course, but since then, actually, other athletes have got very, very close to her national records. Evelina Martinen over 800 and Natalie Blomqvist over 1500. So has to work to keep hold of them. Christian Che, now that should be more like it from the European champion. Che with great power there, really accelerated towards the end of that rotation. 65.75. Only needed 64 metres, of course, to go into the lead, so was always likely to do it. Daniel Stoll, we'll see if he can respond in this third round. Discus comes crashing down just off to the right there. Whereas Che was right down the centre. Well, again, it's going to be over 60. 62.87 slots into what appeared to be 5th place. Fanny Rose winning the shot put early on, being interviewed by Swedish television. It was 18.93, her best effort. That we are having another look at here. Well, Elizabeth Behela looking very strong in this competition, the 20-year-old from Estonia. Let's have a look at this next height. Just waiting to find out exactly what height she's attempting here. Behela winning the European Under-20 silver medal last year, following up on the bronze medal she'd won 2 years previous on home soil in Tallinn at the same competition. We saw her clear 186 previously, so may well be 189. Behela having a personal best of 192 set last year in Pärnu, Estonia. First men's long jump action that we've seen then. This is Anvarov, the Uzbekistani athlete. Not often we say that. Others in this include Radek Yushka, who's over 8 meters 30 at best. Anvarov, personal best set last year of 8:22. Lazar Anic of Serbia, 8:15 personal best. Those are the standout 3 athletes in this. Lawrence Okoye then, let's have a look. We know that Christian Che has taken over from him in the lead. So Okoye releases the discus. Let's have a look where it lands. Looks to be just short of 60 meters, unfortunately, but Okoye, I mentioned that season's best that he has of 64.95 compares to the Olympic standard of 67.20. There is, however, a B standard within UK athletics of 64.90, which he does have. So really has to try and show form and fitness and impress at the UK trials, perhaps also because it may be touch and go whether he would be taken if he's 5 centimetres over that B standard. Kind of unclear at this stage. Nick Percy is the UK leader this year, and he has the A standard. Another who threw brilliantly in Ramona in Oklahoma, providing great conditions. 67.73 for a big personal best. And those two, the only men in the UK over 60 metres this year. Ahead of the likes of Greg Thompson, Rhys Allen and Chuck Sosamore. But all Okoye can do really is try and be consistent and try and throw further. Clemens Proofer, another who was leading, 64.30 for second place right now. Discus goes high and comes down there well over 60 metres. He's talking about Proofer's improvement to 69.09. His PB had been 67.41 from 2022 prior to that. An Olympic finalist in Tokyo where he was 11th. And a former European under-23 silver medalist in Gävle in Sweden in 2019. Gävle not too far away from Sollentuna. Back we go to Christian Shea. And we know he's very capable of improving on 65.75. So winds up the throw, long arm span there, and delivers powerfully once again. No measurement once again, so Shea, Proofer, Okoye, top 3. Shea among those handing out the applause for Daniel Stoll. 68.99 this year, just 6th place so far. That can change in an instant. But it hasn't done just yet. Well, to be honest, in Rome, if you watch any of the European Championships, he didn't quite look comfortable, and the suggestion was that he was really focusing on the Olympic Games. That was the view of some of the Swedes that I was talking to afterwards, including the Bahas Galan Diamond League meeting director. The Olympics, the big prize for Daniel, but of course he has that title already. He didn't have the European title just yet, and neither did Christian Shea. So incredible to think that two of the greats are yet to win the Europeans. Pihala confirmed as winning the high jump, 189, just 3 centimetres off the 20-year-old's personal best, and winning that from Britt Veerman and Engla Nilsson, who in the end have the exact same record, can't be separated in second place, jointly at 183. So, men's long jump continues, as does the discus. Next event on the track, we're looking here at the Malm 400 metre Hjek, men's 400 metre hurdles. So, in this Andreas Hare bucket of Norway, Arpad Banoshi of Hungary, Gabriele Montefalcone, the Italian, who's studying a physics PhD at University of Texas, Josh Folds of Great Britain, unlucky not to make the European team, Certainly a few people outspoken about that. 49.24 this year. Saad Hinti of Morocco, David Teed of Sweden, Jesus Delgado of Spain, and Anton Bertilsson, also another of the Swedes. So athletes all asked to stand up. The Olympic standard in this event is 48.70. So Saad Hinti of Morocco, the closest to it, with 48.82 this year. He's made a half a second improvement in 2024. He won the All-African Games in Accra in Ghana with that national record time. And then Josh Folds, 49.24 that I mentioned, is third in the UK this year behind Alistair Chalmers, 48.7 at the European Championships. Not good enough to make the final, unfortunately, but is a time that would have won 3 editions of the Championships in the last 12 years. Obviously, we know the event has moved on significantly, thanks to a number of reasons, including athlete development, shoe development, track development, and Tyree Donovan having a fantastic season, but also Josh Folds was part of the European team in Munich 2 years ago. Didn't make it out the heats, but would have loved a second bite of that particular cherry. Montefalcone with a personal best of 49.1, fifth at the University Games last year. So looks to be there. Folds in the fluorescent yellow vest. Hinti on his outside, who's the fastest in this particular field this year by quite some margin. But we know that we can see big gains in the 400 hurdles. So watch out for Hinti in that sort of blue-purpley vest, making up ground on David Teed. Folds now emerging as well, but with a bit of work to do down this home straight. So Delgado, it looks to be, now working his way through and to the line ahead of Folds. $49.89 on the clock. Well, it's been a bit of a change of numbers and relane draw for these athletes, but let's have another look here. Off that final barrier, working really hard all the way to the line. Folds coming through just behind in second place then. So it is indeed Delgado of Spain. 49.34, his personal best coming into this race, and beating some faster athletes based on times this year, including Folds and Hinti. So it was a really strong second half to his race. 49.86 the winning time ahead of Folds, 50.07, and Backerton 50.60, and Hinti fading really badly over the final few barriers. One of the previous races we saw was a very measured victory for Finland's Sara Lappalainen. 4:05.81 season's best time to beat Ngarambe, and then some way back Nielsen and Refas. Discus was always set to be one of the highlights then of today's Grand Prix in Sollentuna. Let's have a look at Clemens Prufer. 65.49, improving on that second placed effort, and somehow cutting that 26 centimetre gap to Christian Che, European champ. I did wonder though whether he stayed on his feet. The answer was he did not. Prufer in a very nice Potsdam vest that has the red and white colours along with the track on it, as he did his best juggling act. Keeping Christian Che on his toes. So are we about to see something more representative from the European champion? And we just maybe are closer to 70 metres there. Shining light in Slovenian athletics. (67.64). Extending that lead quite significantly then. Back to Daniel Stoll, not having a competition anything like his best. Still down in 5th place now. So is this going to be any better? Yes, surely. And it could even challenge the lead. Well, it sounded like 66 metres there from the Swedish stadium announcer. So let's wait and see what the numbers are. (66.55), 1 metre and change off the lead of Che. This is Masateru Yugami of Japan. Twice finished at the top 8 at the Asian Championships, and he finishes here with 57.31. Next to Marek Barta, the Czech athlete, 7 times the Czech champion. Personal best this year of 65.46. That was in Prague last month. This is the first season, in fact, that he's improved his personal best since 2020. And his PB had been 64.4. So Barta's best remains 60.89 then. Jesper Arlin going all in for improvement in this last round. Well done, the 20 finalists 2 years ago in the shot put. 56.28 this year coming into this competition. Still just 21 years of age. So his best remains at 55.37 down the order here. But Laurent Secoy, one final chance to get something more from this competition. Can he get over 64 metres, for example? Hopefully an improvement here for Laurent Secoy. Would have wanted to try and extract as much as he could from a competition with the likes of Daniel Stoll. He knew it would have a good crowd, good atmosphere. 64 metres exactly. Remains in 4th place. Well, still a positive result from Okoye. Ideally, we'll see him and Nick Percy both selected for the Olympic Games, but you never know. We haven't seen much of him, but Connor Bell, also in this competition, the 22-year-old from New Zealand, was in 2nd place in the early stages. He's improved to 68 metres 10 this year. That's a New Zealand national record. And that was set on the same day the world record was set by Nicholas Alekna, indeed. National champion in New Zealand the last 4 years. But now we have the 100 metre final following those heats that we saw earlier on. So, very exciting test for these athletes. Iversen of Sweden. Pereira from Singapore. A little bit further back than I thought she might be earlier. Tenorio of Ecuador, one of the heat winners. Henriksson, the improving Swede. Williams of Jamaica. Probably between those three for the victory here. Williams looking very smooth and very strong, just as she was earlier. Henriksson trying to break through on her inside, and Tenorio might just get there. 11.21 seconds. So, equaling the stadium record set previously by Crystal Emmanuel in 2019. And Tenorio does indeed get there. She left it very late. Williams had great speed towards the end of the heat. And you just wondered whether no one would be able to match her. Have another look here. Williams in the light purple. On the outside, Henriksson fighting her way through, but Tenorio just does hold on. Henriksson with the dip on the line to get second. And Julia Henriksson equaling Linda Haglund's Swedish record, 22.8, in Rome, of course. That was 6 days ago. And she won't be too far away from the Swedish 100 metre record. I'm sure eventually they'll both be targets. Just like we've seen Henrik Larsson take over the Swedish 100 record in the last few years and take it all the way down to 10.08. We'll confirm that result fully in terms of times in a moment. But the 1, 2, 3 pretty easy to separate on the picture. Christian Che. Final round of the discus. Well, don't forget, Daniel Stahl still very capable of taking the victory. What can Che do? Final round to try and add gloss to this victory if he can, but I'm not sure that's going to be any further. Well, you could look at this result and say that given that Che, and Stahl in particular, has been a bit underwhelming, you could argue that maybe it's a little bit too soon to compete after the kind of the buzz of the European Championships, but will have wanted to put in a good performance, particularly the Swede, in front of his home crowd. So I'm sure this was always likely to have been in the plan. 66.55, still a solid result. Can he get closer to 70 though? That's what he wants. And it is slightly closer, so Daniel Stahl, is it a valid effort though? That's a nice shot. Sounds as though it's starting with a 66, though, once again. Don't know all of my Swedish numbers, but 66 I think I can translate. So, come on then, show us the graphics. 66.17. So, just over a metre there, the victory. Che even from Stahl, Prufer and Akoi still putting in strong showings of themselves. And there we get to see not just the top 5 but further down, and you can see that we have 6 athletes over 60 metres, and then some of the Swedes that we'd also seen, including Jesper Arlin over 55, a little further down the standings. Okay, so we still got the men's 800 metres to come. That's the main event really left. First we'll confirm the women's 100, so top 3 separated by 600ths of a second. Tenorio of Ecuador coming through in 11.23, so in the end it is actually outside the stadium record that we appeared initially to have equalled.
Sollentuna kommun presenterar herrarnas 800 meter.
Well, Henriksson, who's just 23 years of age still, finishing 6th in Rome at the European Athletics Championships, and that equalled Sweden's best placing in the event, in particular 200 metres, since 1946, when Ann-Britt Olsson was also 6th. And this man is a Swedish record holder outright. Andreas Kramer, silver medalist at the Europeans in 2018 behind Adam Schott. World Indoor silver medalist as well behind Bryce Hoppel of the USA. His teammate Lundskog. Alexander Lundskog also in this from the same club as well, Ulevi. But other international talents include Luke Boys, the Australian who's 20 years of age, set a personal best of 1:44.73 to win the Australian title in April. He's made 1.9 seconds improvement this year indeed. And then on his outside, Benjamin Öberg of Halle. And then we have Edmund Duplessis, the South African who's won his last 2 national titles and made 1.9 seconds improvement this year. So very similar to Boys, and a personal best that is a couple of tenths off what Boys has managed this year, 1:44.92. And then we've got Callum Dodds of Great Britain. So he set a personal best in Belfast. Terrific race. 1:44.79. And that allowed him selection for the European Championships, where he was a part of the heats but didn't make it out. Paul Anselmini also involved in Rome. 1:44.73 this year. So very, very closely matched between Boys, Dodds and Anselmini, with 600ths of a second separating their personal best. And then, as I say, Duplessis just a couple of tenths off that. So Patrick Zuradzki, the Polish pacemaker, leading them out then. And then we should see a decent battle between some emerging athletes here. Dodds, Anselmini and Boys, all fairly new names on the scene over the last couple of years. And Dodds had been competing predominantly over 400 metres for a while, made European Under-20 Championships selection for Great Britain in the past. He's already being run out of things though, back in around 6th place. Anselmini and Boys close to the front here. So, ramping up the pace now. Luke Boys wearing 23, going very strongly at the sharp end of this race. Andreas Kramer though, trying to find space on the inside. So Kramer and Boys still fighting over this one. And they've opened up a big gap here. Kramer and Duplessis, the other man at the sharp end of this race. So Duplessis on the inside, the South African. Kramer, though, on the outside, making a break for it. Ahead of Boys. Shoulder to shoulder with Duplessis, but Kramer clear in first place. 1:45.64 on the clock. Really good battle there between four athletes at the front of the race. And Kramer is the one victorious. So it opened up there for the Swede. Duplessis on the inside. Looked like he just hold off Boys. And Anselmini as well. Quite similar to that men's 1500 metres. That of course was won by Callum Davis, and then there was a real fight over the positions of second to fifth. His teammate Jude Thomas coming through for second. Buoyed on by home support though, that's a really strong field for Andreas Kramer to have beaten. Anselmini and Duplessis both improving to 1:44 this year, putting up a good fight. Callum Dodds, unfortunately for him, just run out of the pack earlier on. Be important for his racing experience, though, I'm sure. So just recapping what happened here. Got the three athletes in a very similar vest, but Andreas Kramer with the flopping brown hair coming through for victory. Duplessis in the Adidas kit on the inside then. And Luke Boys in the fair hair on the outside. Anselmini behind them. But yeah, certainly some talents to watch out for, even if they didn't win this race. Boys, who is just 0.03 seconds off the 1:44.7 Olympic standard from the Blue Mountain region in New South Wales. And he says he's planning as though he's going to the Olympic Games, hoping to make it there. Finishing second here. Still very respectable given the strength of the field and the experience around him. Anselmini third behind Kramer. And Asgede, look at that, personal best for the Eritrean in fourth place. Came in with a personal best of 1:49.25. So he's beaten some athletes who've run 1:44 and 1:45 in this race. So that's mightily impressive. Daniel Stahl being interviewed by Swedish television here, coming second in the discus. It was 67-64 for Christian Che, who's also a newly minted European champion for Slovenia in Rome. And Stahl with 66-55 we saw. Took him time to get going, the big man, but eventually something more respectable. There's Fanny Roos, who won the women's shot put. So, thanks very much for watching this Folksam Grand Prix in Sollentuna. I've been your commentator, Alex Heftel. Keep an eye out on European Athletics channels for forthcoming live streamed meetings. For now though, thanks for watching and goodbye.
Fortsätter Folksam Grand Prix. Sen kommer det avslutas faktiskt i Borås efter OS. Det blir Borås den här gången. Vi ser om vi får några ord med Andreas Bram här avslutningsvis. Innan alla, om ni är på väg bort och vill höra lite med Andreas Bram så ta chansen här nu att höra några ord. Det var en mäktig avslutning tyckte Andreas. Vad säger du? Ja tack. Det kändes inte så mäktigt men det var skönt att kunna springa ifrån varandra. Då är ändå ett gäng löpare som har gjort det under 1.45. Det var ju faktiskt ett pärlband av sådana löpare. Vi var några stycken med väldigt lika säsongsbästa så ja, men här på mitt andra varv hur jag avancerar loppet och lyckas ta vinsten. Det betyder mycket. Hur funkar det när man precis kommer från ett mästerskap så här och ska springa ganska nära inpå? Men å ena sidan kanske man är ganska bra form och så där, men sen kan det vara lite luften ur mentalt. Hur tycker du det? Men kroppen, formen är bra. Sen är det bara att veckan var kämp. Jag har tre lopp på 3 dagar och sen så lite träning här i veckan så jag är lite förvånad att jag tar mig på varv. Och på ganska bra tid ju. Ja, exakt i den. Jag hade gärna sett någon sekund snabbare men jag är absolut nöjd idag hur jag lyckas hålla ifrån honom. Du, avslutningsvis, hur ser landningen ut? Det är 7 veckor kvar till OS och du är i OS klar. Ja, det. Så det blir lite tävlande här nu i veckan med. Fotbollsklubben åker med det. Sen blir det SM. Och så jag åker innan SM och åker till västkusten lite och tar lite lätt semester. Jag kommer träna också. Värt att bli det. Men stort lycka till resan till Paris har börjat. Ja, tack. Andreas Kramer!
Och som en avslutning på det här programmet ska vi dela ut pris till dagens främsta prestation. Och det känns härligt att kunna få göra det till just den här personen. Prisutdelare är Svenska Friluftsförbundets ordförande Johan Storåkers. Och hon som får priset, Folksams pris för bästa prestation, är